My name is Alex. I am 20 years old. Last week, I found out my dad isn't who I thought he was. I'm 20 years old, a sophomore at a community college in Ohio, and until last week, I thought I had a pretty normal life. I live with my mom in a two-bedroom apartment above a laundromat. She's a nurse, works long hours, never complains. My dad died when I was 2. Car accident. That's all I ever knew. And Mom never talked about it much, said it was too painful. I stopped asking after middle school. Then last week, while cleaning out the closet in our apartment, I found a box I'd never seen before. It was pushed all the way to the back under old Christmas decorations and a broken vacuum. Plain cardboard taped up tight, no label. I almost didn't open it, but I did. Inside were a few things. An old black and white photo of a man I didn't recognize, a key, and a sealed envelope with one word on it in thick, shaky handwriting: Alex. At first, I thought it might have been a mistake, maybe something of Mom's from an old patient or friend, but curiosity got the better of me. I opened the envelope. Inside was a letter. Alex, if you're reading this, it means your mother finally decided you deserve the truth. Or maybe you found this by accident. Either way, I owe you answers. My name is Jacob, and I'm your real father. I've watched you grow from a distance. I've always wanted to explain, but I made a deal a long time ago to stay out of your life. Not for lack of love, but for your safety. There are things about our family your mother never told you. Dangerous things. Things that could still hurt you if you're not careful. The key in this box opens a storage unit in Cincinnati. The number is 308B. I paid for it in cash, under a fake name. What you'll find inside, it will change everything. Be smart, be careful, and don't trust anyone until you've read everything. J. I reread the letter 3 times before I put it down. It felt like a prank, or a joke, but the photo, the man in it, he had my eyes. Same weird cowlick in the front of his hair. I couldn't stop staring at it.
When Mom got home, I didn't even say hello. I just held up the letter and waited. Her face turned white. "Why did you find that?" she asked, barely above a whisper. "In the closet," I said. "Is it true?" She sat down like her knees stopped working. "I was going to tell you eventually," she said, "when it was safe." "Safe from what?" Her eyes filled with tears. "From him. From all of it." She didn't say much more, just that Jacob had been involved in something dangerous, and that when I was born, he insisted she raise me without him. She never pressed for details. He sent money every year, cash in a blank envelope, and she used it for rent, school, food. "I didn't want to lie," she said. "I wanted to protect you." That night I couldn't sleep. I kept rereading the letter, memorizing every word. I Googled the address for the storage unit. It was real, about a 2-hour drive away. I wasn't going to wait. I got up the next morning, skipped class, borrowed my friend's car, and drove to Cincinnati. The storage facility was huge. Hundreds of units, gray and rusted, lined up like soldiers in rows. A bored-looking guy in a beanie at the front desk barely looked at me when I said I had a key for Unit 308B.
"Back left," he muttered. "You got 10 minutes. We're closing early today."
308B was tucked into the far corner. My hands were sweating as I slid the key into the lock. It clicked. I opened the door and froze. It wasn't junk inside. No old furniture or boxes of clothes. It was a workspace. A small folding table, a dusty laptop, and 2 large filing cabinets, one marked 1999 to 2009, and the other 2010 to present. There were manila folders stacked neatly, all labeled with strange codes: WIT D17, Co-op of K, Oslo Phase 3. I stepped inside and pulled open the first drawer. It was packed with documents. CIA reports, surveillance logs, photos of people with names scribbled on the back. Some had red X's over their faces. One had a sticky note that said, "Asset lost, Prague." There were IDs too, fake ones, all with my dad's face, but different names. James Carter, Logan Fitz, Thomas Kent. Was my dad a spy? I found a thick folder labeled Personal. Inside were photos, me as a kid, at the park, at school, always from a distance. One was of my 8th birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, and I swear I can see a man in the background, blurry, holding a camera.
Had he been there the whole time? Watching? The laptop still worked, barely. It was old, covered in dust, and password protected. I took it with me. As I locked the unit again, something strange happened. A black SUV turned the corner and drove slowly past me. Tinted windows. No plates. It didn't stop, just rolled by. But my stomach dropped. Something told me I wasn't supposed to be here. I made it home without incident, but I kept checking the rearview mirror the entire way. When I got back, I went straight to the laptop. I tried every password I could think of. Birthdays, my name, Jacob. Nothing worked. Then I tried the code from one of the folders. WIT D17. It opened. Inside were dozens of audio files, some encrypted, some not. One was labeled May 3, 2007. Redleaf. I clicked it. My father's voice came through, calm, focused. Redleaf is compromised. Target has gone silent. The mole is closer than we thought. I'm pulling out. Alex turns 5 tomorrow. Can't risk contact. He can't ever know what I've done. My blood ran cold. I didn't sleep that night. I had 100 questions and 0 answers. Who was Redleaf? What had he done? Why the warnings? And more than anything, what the hell had my dad gotten himself into? And did it still have something to do with me? That night, I didn't sleep. I kept my phone face down, my laptop open to the folder I shouldn't have access to, and my heart racing like I'd swallowed a hive of bees. The apartment felt too quiet. I was sure I heard every creak, every faucet drip, every car door slam outside. Something had shifted, and I wasn't ready for what was coming. By sunrise, I'd listened to 4 more recordings. My dad, or Jacob, or James, or whatever his real name was, have been documenting operations going back almost 20 years. Code names, places, people. Some of them he referred to like enemies, others like ghosts. The recordings weren't just spycraft, they were personal. One was him talking to himself about me. Alex is getting tall. Saw him with his mom outside the pharmacy. She doesn't know I was there. He laughed. God, I haven't heard him laugh since he was a baby. I didn't know whether to feel comforted or freaked out. Had he really been following me my entire life? Then I noticed something worse. One of the most recent folders was dated just 6 weeks ago. Why would my dad be updating this stuff now, if he was dead? I searched everything online I could. No obituary, no death certificate, nothing public. I finally broke down and asked my mom the hardest question I could think of. Do you have any proof that Dad died? She looked like I'd slapped her. What are you talking about? You said he died in a car crash, but I looked. There's no record, no news story, no police report. Was there a funeral? She didn't speak for a long time. Then finally she whispered, he didn't want one. It was arranged, private. Arranged by who? Her face went pale. She stood up and left the room. That was all the answer I needed. By the next morning, I was being watched. I'm not paranoid, I mean that literally. A gray sedan sat across the street from my building for 2 hours, engine running. When I went out to take the trash, the guy in the driver's seat lifted a phone to his ear and stared straight ahead. No movement. Later that day, my friend Jake called me. Hey, he said, I think someone followed me home from campus. Why would they do that? I asked. He was quiet. Then, you said your dad was dead, right? That's when I knew this wasn't just about me anymore. I skipped class the next 2 days, stayed inside, scanned every audio file and document I could. I needed answers fast. One file stood out, an encrypted folder titled Domino. It took hours, but I cracked the password. My birth date followed by Z3R0. Inside were 2 video files, both dated March of this year.
The first showed surveillance footage from what looked like a hotel hallway. Timestamp 3:04 a.m. My father stepped into frame, wearing a suit, carrying a duffel bag. He looked older than I expected, tired but alive. A man followed him 10 seconds later, different build, taller, holding something in his hand, a phone maybe. They walked past the same door. Then the footage cut out. The second video was darker, from inside a moving vehicle aimed at a warehouse entrance. My dad again, this time dragging the same duffel bag out of a van. A voice whispered from behind the camera, "Domino is in play." Then the screen went black. The next morning, I found a note taped to my front door. "They know you opened the unit. Stop looking. You have one chance to disappear." There was no signature, no return address, just that. I didn't tell my mom, didn't tell anyone. Instead, I packed a bag and took a bus to my friend Erica's apartment across town. She owed me a favor, and she didn't ask questions when I showed up looking like I hadn't slept in a week. "I need a place for a few days," I said, "and I need to use your Wi-Fi." She handed me her spare key. "No questions. But you look like you're in the first act of a spy movie." If only she knew. That night, using her connection, I reached out anonymously to someone mentioned in the files, a guy listed as Co-op K. I found his real name buried in a file cross-reference, Kyle Benson, former intelligence analyst turned whistleblower, now living under the radar in Montana, of all places. I sent an encrypted message to the burner email I found. To my surprise, he replied within an hour. Subject, Redleaf. "If you're Jacob's kid, you're in danger. Don't trust anyone who contacts you. Don't talk to your mother. And above all, don't go to the media. If you want answers, get to Denver, Terminal B, Locker 147, code 7113 LK. Denver. This was way above my head, but I was in it now, and I couldn't stop. The next morning, I bought a ticket to Denver using a fake name and prepaid card. I arrived late at night, carrying only a backpack and my dad's letter. Terminal B was nearly empty. I found locker 147 and keyed in the code. Click. Inside was a flash drive and another envelope. The note was short. "Read this alone, then destroy it. Your life depends on it." I booked the cheapest motel I could find, bolted the door, and opened the flash drive. It contained a PDF, 62 pages, titled Operation Redleaf, Active Protocols and Internal Leak Investigation. I read every word. It detailed a covert CIA mission gone rogue, one involving political blackmail, assassinations, and something called the Domino Protocol, a contingency plan designed to eliminate rogue assets if secrets ever risked going public.
My dad hadn't just left the agency. He was marked for termination, and if I'd found this, so was I. The Domino Protocol wasn't just a failsafe, it was a death list. Every name on the document was tagged with a code name, a designation, and a threat level. Some were crossed out, neutralized. Others were highlighted. A handful were tagged pending. One of them said WITD-17, Alexander R., potential leak. Family link to Asset J. Status, surveillance, escalation pending. That was me. It was official. I wasn't just a curious kid digging into a dead man's secrets anymore. I was a target. My father's past had painted a red dot on my forehead. And it got worse. Page 53 of the report mentioned an incident in Prague, a failed extraction that led to civilian casualties and an unauthorized leak of sensitive intel. The implication was that my father had broken protocol. He had tried to protect someone, possibly my mother, and refused an order. The next 10 pages were redacted. I leaned back in the creaky motel chair, staring at the ceiling fan spinning above. I should have felt panic, fear, but instead I felt anger. If they wanted me to run, they underestimated the wrong guy. I didn't destroy the flash drive like the note said. Instead, I encrypted the files and emailed them to 3 separate accounts I'd set up that morning, each under a different alias. I didn't even trust myself with the passwords yet. Then I left Denver and got on a bus headed west. I had one name left to follow, Agent C. She'd been listed as my dad's last known contact before his disappearance. There was no full name, but I had a partial email handle and a nickname, Corsair. It took hours of internet digging in a cafe in Salt Lake City before I found something useful. A Reddit account tied to someone who used the word Corsair in intelligence forums. I DM'd them a coded message using language from the old CIA files. 10 minutes later, I got a reply. "If you're Jacob's son, we need to talk. They'll come for you soon. Do you have the original binder?" I didn't, but I knew where it might be. I booked another bus, this time back home. It had been 4 days. I hadn't spoken to my mom, hadn't responded to Jake. Erica messaged me twice. "Are you okay? You ghosted." I wasn't okay, but I was focused. I got home around 3 a.m. The street was quiet. The gray sedan was gone. The building felt still, like the world had paused for me to sneak back in. Mom was asleep. I crept into the closet and pulled everything out. Christmas lights, old jackets, even the busted vacuum. The binder wasn't there. Instead, there was a new box. It was heavier than the last one, wrapped in duct tape and bound with a nylon strap. A note on top said only, "If they find this, they find everything." I opened it. Inside was a second envelope and a sealed metal case. The envelope had my name on it again, the handwriting shaky but familiar. I opened the letter. "Alex, if you found this, you're deeper in the years than I ever wanted. But maybe it's time. Inside the case is everything I never told anyone. Names, files, video, blackmail, the whole operation. If it goes public, it could burn the entire program to the ground. They'll kill to get it. But if you choose to run, really run, there's a passport under the lining, cash too. Whatever you decide, make peace with it. Because after this, there's no going back. I'm sorry. Dad." I opened the case. Inside, hard drives, a thick envelope of foreign bills, a fake passport with my picture but someone else's name, and a USB drive in a leather pouch labeled Project Origami. My hands were shaking. Project Origami hadn't been in any of the files, but I knew enough by now to understand what this meant. Whatever my father had taken, it wasn't just damaging. It was devastating. And now, it was mine. I called Erica. She answered on the second ring. "Where the hell have you been? You disappeared!" "I need a place to stay, just for tonight." "You're lucky I don't have better boundaries. Come over." I showed up an hour later. She didn't ask too many questions, just made coffee, handed me a blanket and dividend. I sat there, laptop open, trying to decide what to do. Every option felt like a trap. If I exposed everything, I'd be hunted. If I ran, I'd never stop running. And if I did nothing, the people who buried my dad would bury me next. I plugged in the USB. Inside was a single file, a video. I hit play. My father's face filled the screen. He looked older than I remembered, scruffy, gaunt, tired. "If you're watching this, I didn't make it out. I tried. God knows I tried. But there are too many of them, and I'm just one man." Origami was never just surveillance, it was control. Data mining on a global scale, blackmail systems, political manipulation. And when I refused to play along, I became a liability. I leaked what I could, but it's not enough. They'll bury the story, they always do. But you, Alex, you don't have their stink on you. You can be the one to end it. The screen flickered. "But if you choose to walk away, I won't blame you." The screen went black. I stared at the laptop, numb. All my life I'd been told my father was dead, but now I saw the truth. He was murdered, silenced for trying to do the right thing, and they'd come for me next. Unless I did something first. I stared at my dad's face, frozen on the screen, the last frame of the video file. My breath catches somewhere between disbelief and fury. I'd wanted to meet him my entire life, and this was all I got. A confession on a grainy video, a warning, and a terrible choice. Run or expose them. There wasn't a third option. The next morning, I asked Erica to drive me to the public library downtown. It was one of the few places left with anonymous computer access and no surveillance cameras I knew of. I brought nothing but the Project Origami USB, a burner email address, and a plan I wasn't even sure I could pull off. I didn't just want to leak this. I wanted it to stick. I uploaded the entire contents of the USB, every file, every video, every damning name into a secure cloud with scheduled release triggers. I encrypted it, tied it to a dead man's switch set to go off every 12 hours unless I stopped it. I then created a basic site and posted one sentence. On Friday, everything changes. Origami opens. Attached was a countdown clock. I linked it across dozens of forums, Reddit, 4chan, conspiracy boards, journalism leaks. I messaged journalists from obscure newspapers, some from huge outlets. One replied, "Is this a hoax?" I didn't answer, because I didn't care if they believed me now. They would when the timer hit 0. I just needed to stay alive long enough for it to matter. They found me the next day. Not they, as in 2 men in suits. They came in a black van with government plates and tinted windows, and they didn't knock. They rammed the front door of Erica's apartment at 3 a.m. with military precision, 3 flashlights cutting through the dark like blades. I jumped out the window and landed hard in the bushes, barely keeping my footing as I sprinted toward the alley. One of them shouted, another fired a taser. It missed by inches. I didn't stop running until I reached the train station. I bought a ticket to nowhere, literally, some dusty town in Kansas. Paid cash. Sat in the bathroom for the first 2 hours, shaking. They were serious. This wasn't intimidation. It was cleanup. I was a loose end, and my timer was still ticking. The small town I ended up in had 1 motel, 2 diners, and no Uber. I paid the front desk guy in 20s and used a fake name, N. It felt like wearing someone else's skin. I stayed there for 2 days. No calls, no emails. Just the countdown and my paranoia. When the clock hit 0000, my phone buzzed. The scheduled post hit Reddit. The files went live. The metadata flooded backup servers. I watched as page views climbed into the tens of thousands. Then, someone tagged me in a comment.
"This is real. I worked with Jay and Langley. They tried to make him disappear. They almost got me too." It exploded from there. By the end of the day, it was trending worldwide. The word origami was on every news ticker. CNN, BBC, even Al Jazeera. And within 48 hours, panic. The fallout came fast. A congressman resigned. A senator was indicted. 3 CIA officials were placed under federal investigation for tampering with evidence and participating in what was now being called a black cell, an unofficial rogue division operating outside the U.S. Constitution. Whistleblowers came out of the shadows. More files surfaced. Someone posted a list of bank transfers tied to a Russian shell company funding assassinations abroad. Another linked it to private contractors who disappeared political activists. It was chaos. And I was still hiding in Kansas, eating gas station food and using burner phones like a fugitive. My dad's words echoed in my head. After this, there's no going back. On day 5, I was finally contacted by someone I recognized. Agent C. Corsair. Her message was short. Good work. Meet me in Chicago, train station, Tuesday, platform 9. I didn't have any reason to trust her,
But something told me if she meant to kill me, she wouldn't wait this long. I burned everything, erased all local files, took the first bus north. Chicago was cold and gray when I arrived, the kind of gray that seeps into your bones. Platform 9 was mostly empty. A woman in a beige coat and sunglasses stood near a vending machine sipping coffee. When I walked past, she said, "You look just like him." I turned. "You're Corsair." She nodded. We sat on a bench like strangers. No eye contact, no sudden moves. "You did it," she said. "Not all of it," I replied. "But enough." She handed me an envelope. Inside, a new passport, my photo, a new name. "It's not a bribe," she said. "It's an exit, if you want it." "I don't." "You should." "Did you know him?" I asked. "Jacob?" She paused. "I trained him." "What happened to him?" "They didn't kill him," she said. "He did that himself." "What?" "They had him cornered. They would have tortured him for weeks, so he took a different path."
I didn't know what to say. I felt sick. "Why did he keep all of this?" I whispered. "Why not just run?" She turned and looked at me for the first time. "Because Jacob loved you more than he hated them." I stayed in Chicago for 3 days. I changed motels every night. News about origami kept flooding in. Lawsuits, hearings, CIA denials, internet chaos, people demanding resignations, others calling it fake news. Then came the biggest leak of all. A senator's voice on tape discussing how to blackmail judges into silence. That was the match that lit the forest. My inbox exploded. Journalists wanted interviews. Activists wanted collaboration. I even got an email from someone claiming to be Julian Assange's cousin. Yeah, okay. But the one message I didn't expect? From my mom. Subject, "I forgive you." I knew something was coming. I just didn't know it would be you. "I wish I'd told you everything sooner. Your dad wasn't perfect, but he loved you. He told me the last time we met that if anything happened, he wanted you to finish what he started. I thought he was crazy. I see now that he wasn't. I don't know where you are, but I hope you're safe. Come home if you can, or don't. But know that I'm proud of you. Mom." I cried in a diner booth, quietly, as people passed by with coffee and newspapers that had my story on the front page. It didn't feel real, but it was. 2 weeks later, they found one of the black cell leaders dead in his home. Suicide, they said. The rest, indicted, imprisoned, or vanished. Origami unraveled piece by piece, like its namesake folding in reverse. And me? I disappeared again. But this time, I chose where. I live in Portugal now. Small coastal town, ocean air, no real name, no digital footprint. Some nights, I sit on the roof and read the last letter my father left. I've almost memorized it. "You were never supposed to carry this, but I guess that's what legacy is. A burden we pass on, hoping someone stronger can lift it." He was wrong about one thing. I wasn't stronger. Just lucky. Angry. And tired of being lied to. Sometimes I still check the news. Not often. But when I do, I see headlines that mean something to me. Federal oversight of intelligence reforms begins. New whistleblower protection bill passes Senate. Former CIA operatives testify in historic hearing. People are trying, and sometimes that's all you can hope for. There's a safe in my apartment. Inside is a single copy of Project Origami, the full unredacted truth, locked away. I haven't touched it in months. But I won't destroy it either. Because if anyone ever tries to start this again, if I see signs, hear whispers, get even a whiff of the same corruption, I'll be ready. My name is Alex. I'm 20 years old. And now I know who I really am.
My father tried to save the world. I only did what I had to finish what he started. And if you're reading this, maybe it's your turn.